All right, welcome back, Hononegah Geometry. Today we're going to do section 1.5, day 1, but before we get into that, let's do a little warm-up exercise. So find the length of segment CD. So this goes back again to the distance formula. And those of you that still don't remember the distance formula, even though we've been doing it over the last few days, you take the x's, subtract and square, you take the y's, subtract and square, and then take the square root. So here we go. I'm going to take the two x's here. So 4 and minus negative 3 and negative 10 minus 5. That's a 5 right there. So now, square root of 4 plus 3 is 7 squared would be 49. Negative 10 minus 5 is negative 15 squared is 225. So 49 plus 225 is 274. And so now using my calculator, I'm going to find the square root of 274, and I'm going to end up getting 16.6. Midpoint formula now. Midpoint formula, for those of you who don't remember, you take the two x's, add, and divide by 2. Take the two y's, and add, and divide by 2. So going back to the original one, I'm going to take negative 3 plus 4, divide by 2, and get negative 0.5. I'm going to take the two y's, 5, and negative 10, and divide by 2, and get negative 2.5. Now, if you want those as fractions, you're talking about negative a half and negative 5 halves. All right, so let's get into today's topic. Today's topic, we're going to talk about angles and looking at angle measures. Now, the first thing we have to talk about is how we're going to name an angle. An angle is a set of points that consist of two different rays that have the same endpoints called a vertex. So I have a ray going in two different directions. The angle is what's in between that. And we'll get into interior in just a second. By naming it, you name it by the points. And the order of the points does matter. Angle CAB. Notice that I named these points using the middle one is always the vertex. So CAB. Well, I can go the other direction then and go angle BAC. And if we ever put a number in, you can also label this as angle 1. Now here's the one that I tell my class that really have to put a star by. You're only allowed to use this one if the angle is by itself. Notice there's no other angle in which it has an A. So if there was another angle here or another angle here, you can't do this one. So I always use this one only if, or I tell my class, only if the angle is by itself are you allowed to use this one, angle A. Just call it by its vertex. So this would be called angle A only because it's by itself. So make sure that you're careful with that last one. Now, later on, we're going to talk about interior and exterior and have a point on the interior. The interior of an angle is the inside between the two rays. The other side, or the outside, is called the exterior. So you might have points on the interior or a point on the exterior, and that's what they're referring to when they start talking about angles and the interior. So a lighthouse keeper measures angles formed by that lighthouse with point M. There are 3 boats. Name the 3 angles. Order matters here. So J, M, K. Now going back to my last slide, remember you can't use just angle M because there's more than one angle that has a vertex at M. So J, M, K. Another one, K, M, L. And then the last one, we have the big angle, JML. And so I know it's hard for you guys maybe to see this, but I'm going to put these in color now. JMK would be this angle right here. So notice JMK. And then using the next color, black, KML would be this angle then. And so now using the last color that I had going, JML is the big angle going all the way across. So those are the 3 angles in this picture. Name 3 names for each angle. So this first one, going quickly. Angle P, Q, R. Angle R, Q, P, and angle Q because it's by itself. Now the next one actually has 4 angles. Angle X, Y, Z. Angle Z, Y, X. And then angle 1 or angle Y. So there's 4 different ways to do that second one. Now the last one, go ahead and hit pause. I know this was supposed to be a you try. All right, welcome back. Let's see if you got it right. So angle D, E, F, angle F, E, D, angle 2, or angle E. Next, we're talking about actual measurements now. Angles are measured in degrees for the most part. Now, there are also other ways to measure angle measures, but predominantly degrees. Now, we are not going to make you come out and actually use a protractor, but it is good to understand a protractor helps you decide the measurement of an angle. So notice the notation here, M angle AOB means the measure of angle AOB. So that little M means the measure. And so when I'm looking over here and I want to try to find the measurement from there to there, notice that there's 2 different numbers, and it all depends on which direction you're going. So I'm starting off at 0 and going all the way over here. This is a 140-degree angle. Also, you can classify angles. Smaller angles, angles that are smaller than 90 degrees are called acute angles. Angles that are exactly 90, and notice there's a little notation here, a little box there. That is something that we use to label, and that is a right angle. If you have angles that are bigger than 90 degrees, that's called obtuse. And then if I have a straight line, that angle is 180 degrees. That one's going to be very important as we continue to go through the semester, that you know that a straight line is 180 degrees. So now I want to figure out the measurement of each one of these. So the measure of angle GHK. So I'm going to go over here to my picture. I'm going to find G, I'm going to find H, I'm going to find K, and then I'm going to find that angle measure using my protractor. It's 125 degrees. What would that make it classify? Since it's bigger than 90 and less than 180, that's obtuse. All right, the next one, the measure of JHL. So I'm going to have to go back over here to my picture. I'm going to erase the one I already did. And now I'm going to find JHL. So straight up, that's 90, and that is a right angle. And the last one, the measure of LHK. LHK, a little more complicated. All right, I want to find the difference between 90 and over here at 65, and so that is a 35-degree angle, which is acute. Congruent angles. The main thing you need to understand is if 2 angles are congruent, they have the exact same measure. If they have the exact same measure, then they are congruent. So saying 2 things are congruent is the same as saying that 2 things are equal. But here is a big deal. Tick marks. When you see those tick marks, that means that those 2 angles are congruent or equal. So in this picture, we have a giant quilt. And you notice down here, here's angle ADC. It has a double line. And then up here, it also has a double line. So if I ask you what the measure of EFG is, and I know that the measure of ADC is 140, it would also be 140. Angle addition. Here's how I explain it to my class. If I have 2 angles that are cut, all right, 2 angles, a small angle and a small angle add up to a big angle. Very similar to segment addition. Segment addition is if I have a small segment and a small segment and I add them together, it would equal the whole segment. So angle, and again looking at your picture in color, RSP plus angle PST would equal the entire angle RST. With that being said now, if I'm told the whole angle is 145, and I'm looking at this picture, 2x plus 10 plus 4x minus 3 has to add up to the whole thing, which is 145. Now it's back to my algebra skills. So I subtract 7 and divide. Now that is not the answer, though. Yes, x does equal 23, but they want me to actually plug 23 in for x. So the measure of angle LKM is equal to 56. And the measure of angle MKN, again plugging 23 in here, is going to be 89. Given that KLM is a straight angle means 180 degrees. So with that being said, and I know this is a U try, but 10x minus 5, 4x plus 3 has to add up to 180 degrees. Back to algebra. 14x minus 2 equals 180. 14x equals 178. I believe x equals hold on one second. Sorry. Oh, I added 2. Sorry. Messed up there. 182 divided by 14. That's why it didn't work out. X equals 13. Now, that's not what they were asking for again. They weren't asking for x. So I'm going to plug x back in. So angle, the measure of angle, KLN, would equal, if I plug 13 back in, I get 125. And that makes the angle NLM equal to 55. Notice the next one says right angle, and there's that little triangle or that little rectangle or square we talked about. So that means it's 90. So 2x plus 2, x plus 1 equals 90 degrees. 3x equals 87. X would equal 29. And again, that's not what they're really asking for. They want the measure of angle EFH. And so I plug 29 in, and I get 60. And the measure of angle HFG, I plug that in, and I get 30 degrees. And I know I haven't done a very good job of putting my degrees symbol on each one of these. Angle MNP is a straight angle. Let's start with that. MNP is a straight angle. NQ bisects angle. So I'm cutting this angle in half. Draw angle MNP and NQ. Use the marks use the arcs to mark the congruent angles in your diagram. Find the angle measure. So these two angles, and I probably should maybe use some different marks, but these two angles are equal, and because it's a straight angle, it's 90 degrees. So another way you could have done this same thing is to say that these two have 90-degree angles. Your homework assignment, please talk to your teacher, but section 1.5, day 1, and good luck.